Some of you have been asking, when am I going to install the supercharger on the VR6 Corrado? The answer is, that is in process.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
And with a swish and a flick, she's back together, just like magic. That's exactly how this works.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been doing well. I haven't uploaded a video in a couple of weeks because I've been, well, pretty busy. We've had some family stuff going on that has required my attention that was difficult to deal with. And then last week we had some family stuff going on that was not really difficult to deal with. It was epic and awesome, and I feel very grateful and blessed. We got to go on vacation together to the islands of Hawaii, and it was amazing. I've got a little bit of footage that I shot while I was there, but my GoPro turned out to be not as waterproof as it is supposed to be. While I was doing a little bit of snorkeling, it got water in it. I don't know if it's ruined or not, but I'm assuming it probably is. So I may need to go get a new GoPro in order to film new stuff. That's besides the point. Anyway, I have been waiting for the supercharger software, as you may know, and I have it. So I also have an extra ECU that comes with the software in it already. If you're not familiar with the older OBD1 VR6, rather than flash load the software into it, you actually hard install the chip. Now there are two types of chips. There's the ones that are just direct swap in EEPROMs, no muss, no fuss, they just go in there. And then there are the type that have an encryption on them, and they require kind of a sandwich plate. So there's a de-encryptor that goes in there, and then the chip goes into it. I have one of each, and I need to test them to see that they actually work on my car. Now, there are a few different versions of the ECUs, and I need to test it and make sure that this works before I start to go through the trouble of installing a supercharger and then finding out that I don't actually have the software to run it. So we're going to test the ECU today, test the different software, make sure it actually works in my Corrado. So it's not going to be that thrilling of a video today, but if you have never had to install a chip in an ECU or swap ECUs in a VR6 Corrado, this might be helpful for you. We're going to show you how to do that, so follow along. Okay, I'm getting ready to swap the ECUs on the Corrado to see if this other ECU works. If you have not taken out the ECU before, here's what you need to know. Over here, well, I have the spoon-fed tuning carbon fiber rain tray, so that is in the way where normally on a stock Corrado there would not be something here, but I also have my modified filter. This normally doesn't have a filter element in it, but I've got the carbon activated filter from a Mk4 installed in there so that I keep debris from getting into my HVAC system. So down in here there is a 10mm bolt we have to remove, and then the whole thing slides out very delicately. Again, this is a 30-year-old wiring harness, so we're going to be very delicate with it as I'm removing it, and then we're going to swap in. I have the ECU with the supercharger software, so we're going to make sure that that one actually fires up and works. And I've got a stock ECU as well that I just want to verify that it actually works. So we're going to test both of those, swapping them in and out. And my ECU that is in there has the Auto Authority custom software for naturally aspirated performance. So I'm going to move that out of there, and hopefully these work. We'll report back in a few minutes when I swap them out. To remove the wiring harness from the ECU, and I recommend unplugging this before you try to get the whole thing out, there's kind of this interesting connector. I'll show you when it is actually out of here, but it is easier to manipulate if you loosen it first. At least that's the theory. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get that to loosen just using a little flathead screwdriver. Okay, so remove that. Move the wiring harness out of place. All right, so we've got the ECU harness accessible here. This little deal slides, and it's if you use a flathead screwdriver to just gently pry it loose, that'll make things a lot easier in terms of pulling the whole thing out. Now I'm going to go ahead and try this other stock ECU first and see if it functions, and then we'll go from there. But this should go with this orientation. And slide the pin back together. Should snap. Theoretically, it should snap. There we go, it snapped. All right. All right, for the sake of making sure I don't kill my ECU, I have actually transferred the bracket to the Blitz chip ECU. I've received conflicting reports about whether or not this metal part of the chassis is actually part of the ground system, but erring on the side of wanting to keep everything grounded, this would ground through the bracket to the chassis, and it is secured with a bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt it in place rather than take a chance. So if you have not taken out an ECU from a Corrado before, first of all, undo the actual ECU from the harness first. That makes it a lot easier. Orienting it to get it in, here's how you do it. Put it in this way with the connectors toward you, and then you can get this bracket around this section here. It will drop down kind of into the hole that this air passage, and then you'll see it slides past the wiring, and it'll just barely make it through here. There are a couple of things that need to line up in here on little posts that will allow it to bolt in place. There are three. There's two on this side and one on this side. They need to snap into place, and then you can put the bolt, which goes right in here. Let me get the camera down here so you can see a little bit better. So the bolt is here. You can see that. And that'll just snug down. The normal rule applies. You do not need to have it secured with Kung Fu Voodoo Monkey Death Grip. Just secure it to be tight is all you need. So I'm just gonna give it secure enough that it's not gonna back itself out. There we go. Then orienting the harness, it angles into the corner of the ECU. Make sure that the sliding part is extended as you put it in. And then as it finds its home here, and that's another tricky part, you need to make sure that it's actually lined up. Then this will all fall into place very nicely, and this will snap into place. And then there you go, that's in place. I'm gonna pop this back in again momentarily. I'm not gonna put it in permanently because I'm probably gonna pop this back out so that I can continue to drive the car with the properly tuned ECU for naturally aspirated driving until I actually put the supercharger in, which will probably be later this week. We'll start that process. But for now, just getting that in there and snap the connector, lay that back down. This is the additional rain guard put that on top. All right. All this just sort of goes back on like so. Okay. Now, if everything went well, I think we're ready to take it for a quick spin and see if it goes through the gears. If it does, then we are totally green light, ready to start the supercharger installation. So let's see if it fires up with that stock ECU. All right, great. One of the other things that you run into, because this is an automatic, is sometimes the 5-speed ECU will fire up and run. However, it won't shift, it won't communicate with the secondary ECU that controls the transmission. So we're gonna go take this for a quick spin just to make sure it actually shifts through the gears. But before we do that, we're gonna put in the supercharger software and make sure that that one actually fires up. So let's see if that works. And we'll just take the screwdriver here, gently loosen it. It slides open, comes off. All right, so that's that one. And let's try this supercharger software equipped ECU and check for function now. The magic words. Please work. And do we have success? Let's see. It starts up. That's a very good sign that it starts up. So, again, we need to make sure that it's going to work through the gears. So I'm going to close up the hood. We'll take it for a quick spin and see if she drives okay with this ECU, with the software. And if we're good, then that's a very good thing. That means we are green light to install the supercharger. So let's see. All right, let's see how we do. So fire it up and see if she goes through the gears all right. So reverse is always a good start. If she shifts into reverse. I think we're in decent shape, but I'm gonna just take it a little farther down the road to be sure. So first, second, third, fourth. Okay. We've got all the gears represented, and I know this software map is not going to be anywhere close to what needs to be happening with the supercharger on it, so it's probably running super rich, and we will go ahead and swap that around. Although, you know, I don't know. I don't have the bigger fuel pressure regulator on it yet that is required for the supercharger setup. So all I can tell you is this chip, the software that's in this ECU, is designed for a bigger fuel pressure regulator, and it's designed to match up throttle positions with boost. And since I don't have boost happening at all right now, it's probably dumping a bunch of extra fuel as I'm accelerating, and I can look at my air fuel ratio meter, and it's moving around, but it's probably not ideal here. All right, so I'm just gonna turn around. We will head back, and I think we are game on to begin the process. So we're good. The ECU that came with this software package for the supercharger does in fact work. It works with the automatic transmission that I have here, so that will get us down the road as we start this process. And of course I do have the manual 6-speed that's waiting to go in. I still need a few parts for that to make it happen, but it is basically ready to go, and I can get those parts at a moment's notice when this transmission does let go and we move to the manual swap. But for now, we're going to throw the supercharger onto the car, as well as the BFI upgraded motor mounts, and hopefully by this weekend we'll have a supercharged VR6 Corrado. So I will update you with that as we go. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you very soon, hopefully with good news. Bye-bye.
But wait! There's more!
You can shoot me a direct message. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. You know, you can hunt down my email off of my church website. I am a pastor at Quest Church San Diego. That's questsd.com, and you can find me there. So anyway, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you had fun watching this video. See you soon. Bye-bye.